So, why did I choose a Dodge Ram?
Because I'm a Mopar man! Fuck Ford and Chevy! Dodge rule!
Just kidding. I'm not religiously tied to a single brand. Each brand has their own advantages and disadvantages. So, in this video I'm going to describe why I chose the Dodge Ram, especially in respect to carrying a camper.
So the weight of my camper is 1,100 pounds dry, but I'd be adding 518 pounds of gear, plus the weight of passengers, food, and water. I like to travel on rough roads to really get out there, away from everything. This eliminated the option of a half-ton truck. I needed something that I couldn't overload or stress the axle capacities or braking ability.
Cost was the biggest limiting factor for me. So I was looking at 3/4 ton trucks, either a Ford, Chevy, or Dodge, in the late 90s to mid 2000 range.
Now the big question, diesel or gas? Now I have to say, diesels are just plain badass. They have tons of torque and tons of towing ability. They last a long time, and they just have a real cool factor. But they're expensive. And there's some downsides to diesel. Here we're looking at the spec sheet on a 2007 Dodge Ram quad cab 4-wheel drive short bed standard truck ST. When equipped with a 5.7 liter V8 Hemi engine, the payload on this Dodge is 2,740 pounds. Now if that Ram is equipped with a 5.9 liter Cummins turbo diesel, that payload is now only 2,170 pounds. So with the diesel, you're looking at a 500 pound plus increase in engine weight. For the purpose of what I'm buying the truck for, I don't necessarily need the extra torque that the turbo diesels offer, because I'm not towing large trailers. But I do need to retain a large payload. So I felt the diesel was superfluous to my needs, as well as being too expensive for me. Whether I'd go with the Ford's V10, GM 6-liter V8, or Dodge's Hemi 5.7 liter. All engines seem to have fairly reliable reviews, and I'm familiar with the gas engines, and I'm confident working on them on my own. When it comes to the transmission, I was definitely looking for a manual, just for the fact that I love manuals. And also, I have pretty low confidence in the automatic transmissions produced by the domestic truck manufacturers in the late 90s and the mid 2000s. I wanted a crew cab pickup with 4 doors and a back seat that could comfortably fit adults. But the problem with getting a crew cab pickup is it results in a longer wheelbase and a wider turning radius. Let's compare some trucks. So here we'll look at the 2006 Ford F-250 crew cab 4-wheel drive. It has a wheelbase of 156.2 inches and a turning diameter of 51.8 feet. Now we come to the 2006 Chevy Silverado HD 2500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive. It has a wheelbase of 153 inches and a turning diameter of 49.6 feet, which is a little shorter than the Ford and a little tighter in turning than the Ford as well. Now let's go on to the 2006 Dodge Ram 2500 Crew Cab 4-wheel drive. This has a wheelbase of only 140.5 inches and a turning diameter of 44.6 feet. So that makes the Dodge quite a bit shorter than the Silverado or the F-250 and a much tighter turning diameter as well. Now this is because the rear seats in the Dodge have a lot less foot room or leg room, but for me it was a compromise I was willing to live with, especially for the payoff of the shorter wheelbase and the tighter turning diameter.
So fuel capacity and gas mileage are other aspects that I paid attention to. Though the 3 big manufacturers had relatively similar sized gas tanks, though the Dodge had a slightly bigger one, their gas mileage varied as well. The V10 and the Ford tend to be the lowest, the Dodge's Hemi tend to be kind of a middling gas mileage, and the Chevy 6-liters seem to get the best. But when you put a camper on a truck, it's just going to really inhibit that gas mileage, and I wasn't super concerned as long as it had enough capacity.
There's always the controversy over which is better, a solid front axle or independent front suspension. Now, GM's the only one that produces the 3/4 ton and 1 ton trucks with the independent front suspension, where Dodge and Ford produced the solid front axle. The controversy comes to which is stronger, the IFS or the single axle.
Chevys are weak.
And I think as long as you're not modifying your truck, turning it into a rock crawler, or demanding lots of suspension flex, either one's going to be fine. I do appreciate the simplicity of the solid front axle, but I don't appreciate the ride quality. Now, I've driven GMs, Fords, and Dodges, and I must say the independent front suspension on the GM's trucks rides really smoothly. So if the smoother ride is a deal breaker for you, I would definitely go with the GM. But for me, it wasn't a big concern. Let's talk options. There were only two options I really wanted in the truck. The first one was cruise control. Now, cruise control because it can relieve a lot of driving fatigue for those long trips. Now, the second option is air conditioning. Now, I'm not even sure if this is an option. I think most trucks come with this nowadays, but going through the desert, this is a must-have. Other than that, I wanted everything manual. I wanted manual windows and manual door locks because, in my experience, when those things break, they just cost money and it's unnecessary.
Now, there's several things that you can't really quantify as to reasons why you'd buy a truck. Familiarity in a brand or familiarity in the drivetrain are a big deal. If you owned a lot of GMs and you know the GM systems well, I'd go with GM. Or if you know Dodge or Ford, if you're a Ford guy,
Found on road dead.
go with that brand, go with what you know, because that might be enough of a reason to buy it. And another big reason why you might choose a truck is aesthetics. Does it look cool? That's a big deal, honestly. We like to say, oh, it's utilitarian, it's a truck, it's for working or camping or whatever, but honestly, if I found a truck that didn't look cool, I don't think I'd buy it.
That's awesome.
So that's a basic rundown about why I chose this truck. Maybe this can help you in your truck purchase. Thanks for watching.